Good morning, children. Now let us continue with the third unit, that is fiber to fabric. Okay, I will explain you that there are, in this chapter we are going to study about two animal fibers. One is wool and another one is silk, which is obtained from the animals. Already we have learned in the last class about the wool. So what we have learned, let us recall. Wool is obtained from the animals like sheep, goat, yak, camel, I said. But in India, it is obtained by sheep. Then special type of breeding will be, special types of fish will be there where they breed them to get the wool, soft wool. So there will be two types of hair in the sheep also. One will be hard and one will be soft. So the soft one is used for making the wool. Okay, then what is the processing of wool? So the processing of wool, how the animal fibers are converted into wool. So first there are 6 steps: shearing, scoring, sorting, cleaning of burrows, dyeing and rolling. Already shearing means what? The sheep, they have the hair on their body, isn't it? That will protect them from the cold and keep them warm. Okay, so that is, they remove the upper hair of the sheep. That is called as shearing. So using the machine they remove the hair, and this hair is removed only in the summer season, not in the winter season, because in the winter they have to be warm. They don't wear the clothes like us, isn't it? So in the summer season they remove the hair using the machines. So that is called as shearing. So after removing the skin, that is scoring is done. Means they have put it into the machines for washing, for removing the dirt, grease, whatever is there. So earlier people used to put in the big vessels and all, and they used to clean it. But nowadays we have machine for that. So that is called as scoring. Sorting. Now the sheep hair will be there, isn't it, on that? So they separate it out. Long, short, small, all. And then they sort it out for making the wool from that. That is called as sorting. Then cleaning of burrows. In that also hair, some will be long, some will be short, and some will be of use and some will be removed. That is called as the cleaning of burrs. Then dyeing. Usually the color of the sheep, I said, it will be black, brown or white hair. So, but we get varieties of colors we use, no, sweaters and all. So what they do it dyeing. Dyeing means give the color to the hair of the sheep, so that it will be, we get the different colors of wool. Next is rolling. Rolling means they are made into bundles and supplied to the people, and then with that they make the sweaters, clothes, whatever is needed. That is called as rolling. So these are the steps for making the wool. This we have studied in detail. Now one more thing is this, people those who are working in the woolen industry, their job is very risky also. They get the diseases known as sorter's disease. What is this sorter's disease? This you see when they will be sorting out the hair. What happens? They wear the gloves, but still what happens? The hair will have some bacteria and all. So that will infect the hands and all of the people who are working in those industries. So that bacteria, that is known as anthrax. So that will be in that is a blood disease. So it is called as a sorter's disease. So it is risky working in the industries also. Sometimes people may lose their life also. So they are very careful. They wear the gloves and all, and then they work in the factories. So if by chance if that bacteria enters into their hand or if it infects the blood and all, then it causes the disease known as sorter's disease. This is called as the sorter's disease. It is caused by during the processing of wool. So now today we are going to study about silk. We have studied about wool, which is obtained from animal. Now another animal fiber which we are going to study is silk. So silk also is obtained from the animals. Okay. Then for this, first what is done? Rearing. How they rear the sheep, I said you. Good selective breeding will be done, I said. Where they select the parents whose offsprings will give them better hair or the hair for making the wool. Like that only here rearing of silkworm for obtaining the silk is called as Cerriculture. So first Cerriculture is done. Means they rear the silkworms for obtaining the silk. That is called as a Cerriculture. Then you might have seen the varieties of silk sarees and all, isn't it? You have seen in your home on the occasions and all, your parents wear on the marriages and all. So there are different kinds of silk sarees, Dharmavaram, Kanjivaram, all this you might have heard, or you can ask your parents also what is the name for that silk. Then after that we are going to, now what you have to do is you have to go to the tailor shop and collect all the pieces of cloth. You will get there. You will get varieties of cloths. You will get cotton, you will get woolen, you will get silk, you will get synthetic, all this. So that you can collect and stick that in your nose. So that is the activity which has to be done. Then different varieties of silk also you have to take it. Now you have varieties of silk, isn't it? Mulberry silk, eri silk, moga silk, tassa silk, all these are the varieties of silk. So silk was first discovered in China. After that, India is also leading. In India also it is produced, but Karnataka is first to produce the silk. So now in this, we will first study about the life history of the silk moth. How the silk is obtained from the animal, that is the silk moth. Okay children, I said what is Cerriculture. Cerriculture means rearing of silkworm for obtaining the silk. Now let us see through the smart board.
Cerriculture. In this module, you will learn about Cerriculture. Cerriculture. Silk is a fabric with an attractive luster and drape. Called the Queen of Fibers, it is used not only to make beautiful clothing, but also for upholstery and soft furnishings such as curtains, cushions, and wall coverings. Silk is produced naturally by larva of silk moth.
So how is silk produced? Through the larva of a silk moth.
The best variety of silk is obtained from the larva of the silk moth, Bombyx mori. The practice of rearing silkworms in captivity to produce silk on a large scale is called Cerriculture.
What is Cerriculture? Producing the silkworms for obtaining the silk is called as Cerriculture. Now let us study about the life history of silk moth.
Cerriculture starts with laying of eggs by the silk moth. The adult yellowish-white female moth lays pinhead-sized, slightly yellowish eggs on a special paper set out by the silk farmer. The eggs are uniformly spread on egg frames and then covered with tissue paper and an outer frame. These frames are kept in an incubation chamber for about 20 days, where they hatch due to the warmth. After 20 days, egg frames are taken out, kept on a tray and opened. In these 20 days, eggs hatch into about half a centimeter long black larvae. These egg frames having larvae are then covered with fresh mulberry leaves by the silk farmer. The larvae then crawl out of the egg frames and feed on the mulberry leaves day and night for 4 to 6 weeks and grow into an adult larvae. After approximately 6 weeks, the adult larvae stop feeding. Farmers transfer these larvae to mountages. Each larva then produces a single continuous silken thread and wraps this thread around itself to form a protective case called a cocoon.
So this is a cocoon. Inside this you will have a silk moth.
The cocoon formation completes in 3 days. The larva first changes into a pupa and then into an adult silk moth which breaks the thread of the cocoon and comes out of it. Since the silk thread of the cocoons is damaged by the silk moth while coming out, silk farmers usually kill them by putting 10-day-old cocoons into hot water. The hot water also loosens the long silken threads of the cocoons. Loosened threads from several cocoons are then wound into yarns to make strong threads which are woven into cloth. In this module you have learned Cerriculture is the practice of rearing silkworms to produce silk on a large scale. Cerriculture involves the following steps: laying of eggs by silk moths, hatching of eggs into larvae, formation of adult larvae, formation of cocoons, and extraction of silk threads.
So here these are the steps where how the silk is obtained. So first of all, sericulture is a practice of rearing the silkworms to produce the silk on a large scale. Then the steps involved in this sericulture is first laying of the eggs by the silk moths, then hatching of the eggs into the larvae. Then the next one is formation of the adult larvae, formation of cocoons, and the last one is extraction of silk threads. So how many steps we have here? 5 steps. So which are those? Laying of eggs first by the silk moth. After that, the hatching of the eggs into the larvae. Then formation of the adult larvae. Then formation of cocoons. And last one is from that extraction of silk threads.
Difference between natural and synthetic. This module, you will learn to differentiate natural fibre from synthetic fibre.
So now already I told you natural fibers and synthetic fibers. Natural fibers are those fibers which are obtained from the animals, and synthetic fibers are those which are made using the chemicals. So now here we learn the difference between natural fibers from the synthetic fibers.
We all wear warm woolen clothes in winter. Wool is available in 2 main varieties, natural and synthetic. Similarly, silk is also available in natural and synthetic forms. Natural and synthetic varieties of wool and silk can be identified. How? Let us learn through an activity.
So here in this activity you will know which is a natural fiber and which is the synthetic fiber.
For this activity, we need Silitma. Few pieces of fabrics made of natural and synthetic silk. Along with these, we also need natural and synthetic wool.
So what are the things required? Spirit lamp, then natural and synthetic silk, natural and synthetic wool.
Let us start the activity. Take the sample of natural wool, bring it to the flame of spirit lamp and let it burn. Observe the burning wool carefully. You will see that it burns with small and flickering flame and produces little smoke. Also in flame, it sizzles and curls. Take it out of the flame. You can see that the wool ceases to burn. It also smells during burning. This smell is like the smell of burning feather or hair. Look at the ash. It is crisp, irregular shaped and can be crushed easily. Now burn the synthetic wool. The synthetic wool curls away and melts on burning, leaving a hard lump. Its burning smell does not match with that of burning feather or hair. Now we burn natural silk. It burns with little smoke and no flame. When removed away from flame, it continues to burn, but with difficulty and ultimately extinguishes. The smell of burning natural silk is like that of burning feathers or hair, but it is less intense than wool. The ash is round, crispy, shiny black beads and can be crushed easily. At last, burn a synthetic silk fibre. The synthetic silk also produces molten down as in case of synthetic wool.
So the burning of the silk is like burning your hair. Sometimes you might have seen, you might have burnt your hair. Within no time, just a little bit of fire is sufficient. The whole thing burns. So silk will easily burn, but not the wool. And what is the smell? When the hair it burns, you will see the smell. No, that smell comes when the silk burns.
Cerriculture. Difference between nut, we know. Let us, in this module, you've learned to differentiate natural fibers and synthetic fibers. Life history of a silk moth.
Now here, this is the life history of silk moth, what you have to draw. Okay, so this is male silk moth, and this is a female. These are mulberry leaves. This is silk moth. This is a cocoon, and inside this you have a silk moth. So let us see how to draw it. This diagram also you have to draw it. These are the different stages of the life history of silk moth.
Top left of the sheet, draw a moth and label it as a male. To its right, at a distance, draw a similar but larger moth and label it as B, female. Also, label both moths as adult silk moths.
So this is male moth, this is female moth. So you have to name it as adult silk moths.
Next, below the male silk moth, draw a branch with a leaf.
So this is a leaf of mulberry.
On the leaf at this position, draw some small, nearly circular shapes. Label the structure as C, X on a mulberry leaf.
So these are the X on the mulberry leaf.
Now to the right of this structure, at a distance, draw a larva like this. Label it as D, silkworm.
So this is a silkworm.
Then, below the mulberry leaf, draw a vertical, nearly rectangular shape with a curved top and bottom. Fill it with dots and dotted lines like this and label it as E, cocoon.
So this is cocoon. From this only comes out the silk moth after putting them in the hot water.
To the right of the cocoon at a distance, draw a section of a cocoon placed horizontally. Finally, inside the cocoon, draw a developing silk moth and label the structure as F, cocoon with developing moth. Your diagram is now complete with A to F representing the life history of a silk moth.
So this is the life history of silk moth. So the female silk moth will lay the eggs on the mulberry leaves. It eats lot of leaves there. After that it will form a silkworm like this. Then that silkworm, here outside the cocoon there will be the threads. So here you will have the silk. So this cocoon, when it is complete, it will be put in the hot water to remove the silk moth, and the silk, in this way the silk is produced.
Here is the label diagram showing the life history of a silk moth.
So this you have the question in your textbook to draw the life history of silk moth. So you can see and draw neatly. You have to color it also. Now silk fibers are also called as animal fibers. They are made up of protein and are obtained from the silk worms. Already I told you, we have learnt about the wool, this is about the silk. This is also obtained from the animal fibers and they are made up of a protein which is obtained from the silkworm. The culturing of silkworm, that is the rearing of the silkworm for obtaining silk, is known as Cerriculture. Already just now I said you. Then China leads in the production of silk all over the world. So China was the first country to discover the silk. Then life history of the silk moth. Already we have seen just now. The female silk moth, it lays the eggs on the mulberry trees. The egg hatches into the larvae known as caterpillar or the silkworm. Caterpillars will feed on the mulberry leaves and grow in size and get converted into pupa by weaving a net to hold itself. The pupa swings its head from one side to the other in the form of figure 8. We have seen how this thing was formed, silk moth, you can see in the picture here. Like this. So the pupa swings its head from one side to the another in the form of the figure of 8. This is called as the figure of 8, like this. And this time it secretes a fiber made up of protein. This fiber on exposure to air turns into silk. The pupa at this stage gets converted into cocoon, like this. This cocoon. It gets converted into cocoon. Finally, the pupa develops into moth. Inside the cocoon, when the moth is fully developed, it comes out of the cocoon like this. It develops and from here it comes out. So this is the life history of silk moth. The next, varieties of silk moth. There are various types of silk moth which yield different types of silk yarn and have different types of texture. For example, tassar silk, mogar silk, kosa silk. So these are the varieties of silk, name of the different types of silk which will yield the different types of silk yarn. So this is obtained from the types of silk moth. They will yield the different types of silk yarn and these are of different texture. Tassar silk. You ask your parents, they might be having the sarees and all, you can see what type of material it is. Some will be soft, some will be smooth, then some will be shining. So like this, these are the tassar silk, mogar silk, kosa silk. The most common silk moth is the mulberry silk moth that produces soft, lustrous and elastic silk that can be dyed in beautiful colors. So the most common is mulberry silk moth. This will produce what type of material? Soft, lustrous and elastic. And this can be dyed in the different beautiful colors. Then obtaining silk from silk moth. To obtain silk from the silk moth, the worms are reared on large scale. So first of all, the worms are reared on the large scale. Then the eggs laid by the female moth are stored carefully on the strips of cloth or paper and then they sold it to the farmers. This we have seen already. They take this egg and they sold it to the store it and sold it to the farmers. So the farmers will look after that. The eggs are kept under hygienic conditions with the proper temperature and humidity. You have seen how they are kept inside hot. The eggs are provided with the appropriate warmth to hatch into larvae. The caterpillars feed on mulberry leaves and increase in size enormously. So these caterpillars will feed on what? Mulberry leaves only. And what they do? They start increasing in size. After 25 to 30 days, the caterpillars stop eating and start spinning the cocoons. So they eat for 20 to 30 days continuously, and after that they stop eating and they start spinning the cocoons. Since they produce the thread. Processing of the silk. A pile of cocoons is used for obtaining silk fibers. So from this cocoon we obtain the silk fibers. To obtain silk, so to get the silk, now what these cocoons are done? They are boiled in the water, steamed or exposed to sun. By doing this, the moth inside the cocoon dies, which otherwise comes out of the cocoon by rupturing it and hence spoiling the thread. So if you don't put them in the hot water, what happens? This silk moth, this will rupture and it will come out, and this will spoil the thread. So because of that, they are put in the hot water. Then the threads are separated out from the cocoon for use as silk by the process known as reeling of silk. So in this way, the reeling of silk is done. Like this, silk is produced. Reeling is done with the help of special machines which unwind the fibers from the cocoon. Then how silk was discovered? When asked by the king Yungti to find out the reason for the damage caused in the mulberry leaves. So there was a damage in the mulberry leaves. During that time, the Empress Sai Yungti found that the leaves were being eaten up by the white worms. So a cocoon which dropped into a cup of tea caused a mass of threads to entangle. Thus silk was discovered. So I said when a cocoon is developed, they have to put it in the hot water to get the silk. Otherwise the moth will rupture and come out and it will spoil the thread. So when it was dropped into the hot tea, a mass of thread was entangled. Thus in this way the silk was discovered. Chinese traders traveled through the silk route and introduced silk to various countries. So they traveled and that route was known as Silk Route. So Chinese traders traveled through that silk route and introduced the silk to the various countries. So in this way the silk was discovered. So today we have seen what all about the silk we have studied, which is obtained from the animals. So here the rearing of the silkworms for obtaining silk is called Cerriculture. Then we have studied about the life history of silk moth. Then we have studied about reeling of silk moth. Then discovery of silk. Then you have the textbook here. Some breeds of sheep where this sheep will yield a good type of wool. So that we have to read out. At least you should know. So I am reading you. Name of the breed and the quality of wool. Then state where it is found. Lohi. This sheep will yield a good quality of wool. It is where it is found. It is found in Rajasthan and Punjab. Then Rampure Bushmere. This is brown fleecy. So this is found in Uttar Pradesh, Himachal Pradesh. Then you have Bukrawal for woolen shawls, that is in Jammu and Kashmir. Then you have Marwari. So this is coarse wool, that is hard. Coarse means hard. That is found in Gujarat. Then you have Pattanwadi for hosiery, that is found in Gujarat. So this table was given for you all to complete it. So I have read out. So now you will know name of the breed and which will yield the good quality of wool and the state where it is found. So in this lesson we have studied about animal fibers, silk and wool. Okay, so this is completed down here. So you will be sent the notes. PDF notes will be sent to you. You complete the notes and read the lesson and the videos you see, go through it and understand the lesson. Okay. Okay children, we will continue with the next lesson in next class. Thank you.